Hello, hello, hello! My name is Monica and welcome back to my vlogging channel. So, I have been doing my natural birth stories, pregnancy, showing you pictures, telling you how everything happened and how every single birth is just like so different, so different. And you would never think that one human being could go through everything, experience all of these different things with pregnancy and birth. My other videos with my daughter, with my then son, and now we will talk about my third child. Right now she is 1.5 years old. So it's still very new, right? So I remember everything very clearly. I had a photographer, so she was taking pictures and she was filming. I will not share these today, but I will show you what I looked like while I was pregnant, how big I was. So let's go back and start at the beginning. I was ready for a third child. I was still breastfeeding my son at the time, and so I couldn't get pregnant. I didn't have a period. So I decided, he was already 2 years old, and so I decided to start to wean him off slowly, just kind of slow down during the day and then during the night, and everything happened slowly and nicely. And a couple of months later I found out that I was pregnant. Very happy, and of course I wanted to get pregnant. I already slowed down the breastfeeding, so I was breastfeeding a couple times a night only, and I got pregnant. Disclaimer: if you're sensitive to birth, blood, miscarriages, this is a birth video, and it will be all kinds of talk here. Just a warning. So when I got pregnant, a couple weeks later, I had a miscarriage. I don't remember how many weeks I was pregnant. I did have to get a D&C, which I know that with all of my pregnancies, I had a miscarriage, I had a D&C at some point. It's just, that's how my life went, my getting pregnant, my having a baby. With all of my kids, I had to... One second. Oh, mom life. So where was I? I had a miscarriage. I had a D&C. It was very difficult. My husband came to pick me up from the hospital with all of my kids. I cried. I felt a lot of emotions. I felt a lot of sadness. I felt disappointed and mad and sad that every single time I want to get pregnant, it's never I'm pregnant and let's be happy. I was always scared and like, oh my God, I don't even know if I'm pregnant. Like, I got this positive test. A couple weeks later, it could just be a D&C again. And every single time after the miscarriage, when I got pregnant again, it's difficult because the miscarriage never leaves you. The scare never leaves you. It's just torture. It's kind of torturing yourself with what might happen to that baby now that you're carrying, because the before baby didn't last, didn't survive, didn't live. And it's just like, after one miscarriage, it's always scary. It's just, after one miscarriage, it's just, I was always scared. I was always scared to lose the next baby and the next. Before my daughter, I had 3 miscarriages. Before my son, I had 2. Before my last daughter, I had 1. And it's like I always had a miscarriage. I never knew how many miscarriages I will have, of course. But to a happier note, I was lucky enough to only have 1 miscarriage this time. And after that, I got pregnant with my daughter. Everything went well. I was on bed rest, of course. Although bed rest did not happen, I tried to take it as easy as possible, but it was just not possible. I had 2 kids. I was hardcore mom by then, and I was just hoping for the best. I was listening to my midwife. I got a midwife, a home birth midwife, and a nurse. So I was ready to make my dreams come true of having a home water birth. Although it was not as easy as I wanted it to be. Me and my husband had just bought a house, and he was renovating the house by himself. So he was renovating this new house that I'm supposed to give birth in and working a full-time job. And I am, with 2 of my other kids, pregnant, living at my parents'. So it was just very emotional, very draining, very sad. I had a lot of nights where I was just so sad and so lonely, and I just cried. Emotions were just like through the roof. I was just very sad. Of course, through the day, I knew that I wanted him to redo the house. We just bought a house. It was horrible. The house had nothing that we wanted. It was old. Everything was so old. So he had to do this, and he had a time. Like, he had my whole pregnancy to do this. And it did. It took him my whole pregnancy. It was a hard moment in my life, for sure. Being pregnant away from my husband, he would come to visit, but then he would still live at the house because he was, doing all these things to the house after work till midnight, waking up, going to work, and like this every single day, every single weekend. I was pregnant, I was growing, I was emotional, I was eating 5 ice creams a day. Ooh. Now, where was I? Ooh. So, I was very pregnant. I hired a midwife to give birth at home. She, of course, had her own nurse that would come as well. I was ready. Of course, the house was not. So we were in a rush to get everything ready. Then came my due date. I know, right? What? Like, I heard that a child is like very lucky if he or she is born on their due date. My due date came, well, let's go a couple weeks before. For about 2 to 3 weeks, I was having every single night cramping, just cramping. Something was happening. I had cramping. I couldn't sleep. So for about 2 weeks, that was going on, where I thought maybe tonight's the night, and then it was not. 2 weeks, about 2 to 3 weeks passed, and that's when everything started. So from the morning, I had a little cramping. I dropped my daughter off to school. And so I went to my parents, and I was walking around their house. I felt something is happening, something is starting. Cramping. and it just kind of increased very, very slowly throughout the day. In the afternoon, we went to a game room for the kids, so they played. I was running around with them, which really increased my contractions. And so then we went to eat some Chinese food, and in that Chinese place I was starting to take a couple moments to myself throughout the contractions. So I knew it was the real deal. Went home, packed the kids' bags, took my kids to my parents' house. They live 10 minutes from me. And so at my parents' house, I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk through the contractions. So, you know, saying goodbye to the kids, knowing that tomorrow they will come and they will meet their sibling. It was just, oh my goodness. So in the car on the way home, it's 10-minute drive. I called the midwife. I called my photographer, who's my dear friend. And so I told him it's happening, you know, come whenever you feel like it. Like it's getting serious. I cannot talk through the contractions. But I was still very, very okay in between them. And the car was horrible. The car ride, oh my goodness. I couldn't sit. I was like kind of squatting. It was just uncomfortable. At home, I came back home at 8 p.m. So the whole day I had contractions. At 8 p.m. I was very much in it. Like, that's it. My husband was trying to set everything up in the house, so set up the pool, you know, bring me water, help me, whatever. And I was just going through contractions. I had texted and called the midwife already. She knew what was going on. She knew that she had to be waiting, you know, and to come to my house. Oh, okay. Then, so that was 8 p.m. Around 9, I told her, that's it, you need to come. Like, it was getting very serious. I want to go in the pool already. Like, this is just, it's happening very fast. I kept going to the restroom. I needed to use the restroom, and I don't have a bathroom downstairs, or I didn't at the time. I didn't have a bathroom here, so I had to go upstairs. My water hadn't been broken. Like, I didn't know what was going on still, because I was with my husband alone and with the photographer. I kept going upstairs to the restroom, and I was kind of just laboring in the restroom mostly while my husband was taking care of everything here, you know, filling up the tub with water. And so the nurse came. I was upstairs laboring. I was on all fours already. Like, I was on the restroom and on the bathroom, and I got down on all fours. That was very comfortable, and I was just laboring on all fours in the restroom. She comes upstairs, she checks me, and she's like, you're 10 centimeters. And she's like, do you want to birth the baby here, or do you want to go to the pool? And I'm like, pool. Like, I waited till the contraction was over, and I was heading downstairs to the pool. Ooh, so my midwife is still not here. And I am with this unknown nurse and my friend who's a photographer. My husband is trying to fill up the pool. I got in the pool, and my midwife came. I will tell you, 10 minutes later, my daughter was born. So my midwife came right on time for the pushing. She tried to put my legs in different positions that my child would not get stuck. Because if you saw my video with when I gave birth to my son was stuck. He was very large, very big, 10-pound baby. He got stuck. This time we wanted to avoid that, and so she told me a couple things, what I need to do, how to put my legs, that we could avoid that if possible. I started to push. I was pushing. I was doing good. At 10:03, my daughter was born. My midwife was just giving me space. So I caught my daughter, I pulled her up, and I was just laying in my house, in my living room, with my baby in my arms. It's just 8 p.m. to 10:03, everything just like flew. Did I tear? No, I did not. My midwife was very lucky. Was the babe? My midwife was very happy with me not tearing. Of course, I was too. Was the baby 10 pounds? No. Baby was 8 pounds. Where were we? So, let's sum up everything I have told you about this beautiful pregnancy and birth. Miscarriage before getting pregnant with my daughter. I was on progesterone, baby aspirin. I was supposed to be high risk on bed rest. I tried to do as best as I can, slow down as much as I can. I had insane cravings for Magnum non-dairy ice cream. I ate them every single day, at least 5 ice creams a day. And I am not lying, I am not exaggerating, I am not kidding. Real thing. This happened for real. Another thing, so I was living at my parents' house with 2 toddlers. My husband was remodeling the new house. I gave birth on my due date. My midwife almost didn't make it. Like, she came to me pushing. Like, I started to push, and then she just like runs in here, gets all her things like settled, and then she's like, you got this, you're so strong, you can do this. And so I was in the pool, I was pushing the baby. And remember when I told you that 40 weeks on the baby born on their due date, it's very rare and it's a lucky type of situation. So imagine, my water had not been broken at this point yet, so I'm pushing my baby in the water sack. How lucky is that? How rare is that? Like, she was still in her waters. I'm pushing, and it's of course very difficult, and I'm like, can you break the water? I feel that it's like bursting. And my midwife's like, no, you can do this. You can do this by yourself. You got this. And so I'm pushing, and then my daughter is like at the same, everything happened at the same time. So she's being born, the water bag breaks while she is being born and wraps around her hand. What? Like, have you heard of that ever? I have not heard of that ever. So everyone's like, oh my god, wow, look, like it's like wrapped around. And I pull her up, and you can see, and of course we took a lot of pictures, and we were so happy and we were so thrilled. And the most exciting part for me, I always wanted a home birth. I was just, with my first, I had preeclampsia, I had high risk, I had, 3 miscarriages before I was high risk. I couldn't give birth at home. My second son, we were scared that I might have preeclampsia, but then he was so huge, he got stuck. So I guess maybe it's good that we gave birth in the hospital. So with my third child, I was like, that's it. I'm making my dreams come true. I'm trusting my midwife, my nurse. And so she was born, and I got out of the tub. We had like a mattress right next to the tub, so I wouldn't have to walk anywhere. We could just be in my living room, very cozy and comfy, and just all happy. My husband made me food. I wanted some, I believe, nuggets with ketchup, and then I wanted some cookies that I had bought for the midwives, but I love cookies, so I was just snacking on those cookies while the midwife was kind of checking the baby, checking me. I did start to bleed quite a bit, and that happened with my son. If you watched my video where the midwife got scared when I was in the tub and there was a lot of blood, so she had to get me out. This time my midwife, there was no blood in the pool. I got out. When I laid down, I felt a lot more dizzy and tired than I had been with my other births. And I felt that something is going on. So I started to bleed a lot. And my midwife, just to be on the safe side, gave me some kind of pill under my tongue. I am not 100% sure what it does. It helped with the bleeding, it slowed down, and everything was fine. No one panicked, no one was, everything was fine. Everything was great. I was just a lot more exhausted. That's the best way to put it. I felt that I lost a lot of blood. I felt it. I was very happy. I was watching my baby, and it's an experience that is hard to describe. Like, there's no way to describe this. You're just in like heaven. The one plus to giving birth naturally, because I have never used epidural, Pitocin. I don't know how I would feel when doing all these things. But giving birth naturally, after I gave birth each and every time, I felt so empowered. I felt so strong, so womanly, so amazing. It's just that experience, that feeling is just whoa. And I remember being so proud of myself. I'm like, this was not easy. This was the most challenging thing in my life. And I did that. Like, I went through that. I was able to, and it's just whoa. I'm like, I am strong. My body is amazing. Like, look what my body can do. Woo. Anyway, let's see what else I have to tell you that I wouldn't miss anything. I wrote everything down. I think that's it. I covered everything. I can't believe I had to like leave like maybe 5 times throughout this video. But that's about it. Everyone's happy, everyone's healthy. Of course, after the baby was checked, I went upstairs with my husband. It was, you know, like maybe 12 already. We went upstairs, we took a family picture of everyone that was there. We took a beautiful picture, and me and my husband and my baby went to sleep. In the morning, my kids came, and of course, like, that's like probably the most amazing thing, seeing your children look at your other child that was just born and having this connection right away. And it was just amazing. It was so amazing, and seeing them hold the baby and just like being so happy, and it's nothing will ever change those memories. Nothing will ever come in between them, and it's just the most beautiful thing in the world. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe and like, and you can even share the video. It would help and support me a lot. And I'll see you in my next video. Have a great day.